All right. So we got some MonsterVerse news, though it's probably not the MonsterVerse news you were expecting. We've got the announcement of a new comic series called Return to Skull Island. So this will be, of course, a new Kong comic. And I know everyone's about to roll their eyes, immediately go, oh, more Kong stuff. Oh, I hate it. Look, let me be real with you guys real fast. I'm going to say this right now. I don't mind the amount of Kong stuff that that Legendary does. I don't mind it at all. Do I think we need more Godzilla stuff? Yeah, but they have to work with Toho on that, and I imagine, well, we have all the rights to Kong, so we can just do that. So we don't have to talk to anyone about Kong. We can just do that. And also, let's be real. Up until 2017, there isn't a lot of Kong stuff. So let's take that into account real quick. Where, you know, Kong has had what, a series of movies, one that had a sequel that was infamously bad, and then now Kong has more of a story since 2017. Because here's the thing, Kong has always been like, we're just remaking the first movie and maybe we'll do a sequel to it that's really awful. So it's always been the same thing. So there hasn't been a lot of Kong content. I'm never doing that again. I hate that. I immediately regretted saying that out loud. But yeah, that's the thing, is that there hasn't been a lot of Kong stuff other than those one-and-done movies that are just remakes of each other, and maybe some animated shows here and there. So the fact that, like, now we have more... It's like Kong is trying to catch up to the fame that Godzilla has. Even though yes, Kong has been around since 1933, but there hasn't been a lot of stuff that really, like, connects and stays. This is the first time we've had since ever, and don't say the 90s 2000s cartoon. No one watched that, even though it was alright, but no one really watched that or remembers it. So let's not split hairs here, shall we? And yeah, so now we have a unit where Kong can expand as a character. Do I think we should get more Godzilla stuff in the MonsterVerse expansion universe? Yeah, but that one they need to bypass shit with Toho. So I can see why it's just easier for Legendary to do stuff with Kong, which is fine. And yeah, I know season 2 of Monarch will be more Kong centric, but yeah, just let's be cool, all right? It's like, once you figure out, like, it's a matter of IP, it gets easier, you know? It gets easier to accept. Do I wish they could do more stuff with MonsterVerse Godzilla? Yeah, but every time they do, Toho's like, "What you doing? What you doing over there?" "Nothing." "Oh, it looks like you're doing something with the Godzilla we let you have. You want to talk about that?" "No." "Well, it feels like you want to talk about it." Okay, we'll do it with Kong." Anyway, so this is a new comic called Return to Skull Island, which is actually a sequel, which is actually a continuation of the Skull Island animated show. If you guys remember the Skull Island animated show on Netflix, it only had one season, and I've heard nothing about a season 2. But then again, maybe they'll just, like, low-key release the second season like they did with Pacific Rim the Black. And it'll be this great season that no one talks about. Netflix is infamously awful when it comes to promoting their shows, especially, like, a good amount of animated shows. It's especially heinous on animated shows, and especially when they don't own the IP. They are very cruel about it. So I imagine that was kind of the case with the lack of promotion for the Skull Island animated show. But this will be a continuation of that show, and will focus on the effects of Season 1. So I enjoyed Season 1, but I also understand that, like, I was watching this show and I was like, oh, I have heard nothing about a Season 2. And not to say it won't get a Season 2, but I've heard nothing about it. So maybe the comics are the way to, like, reveal... like, maybe this is the creator's way of continuing that storyline. Because it looks like it's important if they're continuing via comic book, which I think is cool. I think it's a really cool thing. What surprises me also is that this is being released as a... This is basically being released as a comic book sequel under Titan Books. It's not under Legendary Comics. It's working in tandem with Legendary. That's what really surprised me. More than anything else, because I figured, yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, so Legendary Comics is going to be doing more stuff. No, it's in junction with Titan Books, the guys behind Doctor Who and Conan the Barbarian and other titles. So I was like, why are they going with Titan to work on this? Like, that's what I was surprised by more so, was that the fact that they were doing like they were working in tandem with Titan. Rather than, if anything, you would think they would go with DC, because that's also Warner Brothers, and yes, Legendary's their own company, but they were the movie, the rights there are also with Kong, so you'd think it would be like a DC book. So I'm shocked it is under Titan. That was the one thing that surprised me. But I am glad they are continuing the Kong, the Skull Island animated series storyline, because there was a lot of things that were talked about in there that never really got to see the light of day. I'm curious about Kong and the Firebird that is like kind of like his Mothra, like that Phoenix. It's cool to see that we're going to see that Kong's going to fight Titanus Kraken again. I really like that. Was one of the cooler boss fights in the show. I also hope we get more Skullcrawlers. Remember, this show is set in 1999, so Monarch has a presence there in some capacity. This is set, not in 1999, 1993, excuse me. It's set in 1993, so, yeah. And it's part of the official timeline, so I imagine Legendary really want, if they, it's very clear they want this story to continue, and I would imagine maybe this will tie in with the Monarch show on Apple. That could be the case. There's also the announcement of another comic called Monarch Declassified that's been announced. I didn't see anything else for it. I did see that from what I understand, is that one will focus on Titans. Like, there'll be like the Godzilla Legends miniseries where there'll be like one, from what I understand, I could be wrong, but like it's supposed to be like one and done stories about about each different Titan. So I'm really excited for that, to see ones on Methuselah or Baphomet or like Titanus Abaddon, the spider we saw in that god-awful Kong game. Yeah. So I think that would be really cool. I think that's going to be really cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, it's probably going to be Titan is really speedy with their trades sometimes. So this will probably come out real fast. But anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of Return to Skull Island? Are you guys excited for it? Are you guys not? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.